Om Namo Narayana, welcome back. We are continuing our read of the Narada Parivrajaka Upanishad. So, we left off in the last video in section 3 with verse 27. So, today we're going to pick up with verse 28. Don't think we're going to finish chapter 3 yet again. It's going to be 3 videos, as I supposed. Yeah, it's going to be 3 videos. But I don't know where we'll stop, so we'll figure it out as we roll on. Anyways, part 3, verse 28. A pair of loincloth, a parched garment against the cold of winter, and a single emblematic staff constitute the accoutrements of the highest class of ascetics, the Paramahamsa. No more is allowed by scriptural law. If he were to possess more accoutrements for comfort, he will go to the dreadful hell and be born in the species of animals. He may wear outwardly a patched garment strung out of pieces of discarded but clean cloth after dyeing it with ochre. Wearing a single garment, or unclad, his vision on one alone, and without longing, shall always be on the move alone. In the rainy season alone he may stay in one place, giving up his household, his kinsmen, his children and wife, all branches of the Veda, sacrificial rites, and the sacred thread. The ascetic shall journey alone, without attracting attention to himself. Abandoning faults such as passion, anger, pride, greed, and delusion, the mendicant monk shall remain free from the mine-ness. Ridding himself of love and hatred, viewing equally on clod, stone, and gold, and desisting from injuring all beings, that ascetic shall remain free from all desires. An ascetic will attain liberation when he is freed of pride and egotism, devoid of hurting and wickedness, and possessed of the virtues of self-knowledge. By attachment to the pleasures of the senses, one undoubtedly comes to harm, restraining them alone, while one attains final beatitude. Desires do not subside by giving scope for their enjoyment. Like fire fed by oblation, they only increase all the more. That person is to be known as one who has conquered his senses, who neither rejoices in nor dislikes the objects, having heard, touched, eaten, seen, or smelled them. He reaps all the fruits promised by the Upanishads, whose speech and mind are ever pure and always well guarded. A Brahmana in quest of liberation should always recoil from honors as from poison. He should always welcome disregard as he would nectar. A person forgetting it sleeps soundly, wakes up in good humor, and goes about his work in the world happily. But the insulter comes to grief. One should bear patiently with abusive language and never insult another, nor should he in this embodied state create enmity with anyone. One shall not return anger for anger. When abused, he shall speak gently for the welfare of all. One should never speak an untrue word which feeds worldly desires of the 7 gates of the body. Taking delight in the supreme light manifested in the individual self, remaining quiescent, free from desires and blessings, seeking supreme bliss, the ascetic should move about as a mendicant monk, with the self alone as his companion. He becomes fit for immortality by subduing the senses, enervating the feelings of love and hatred, and by non-injury to human beings. This body, pillared by bones, bound together by tendons, plastered with flesh and blood, covered by skin, foul-smelling, filled with urine and feces, subject to old age and affliction, an abode of diseases, liable to injury, full of passion, impermanent, and the abode of the elements, one may abandon without regret. If one were to take delight in the body, which is a conglomerate of flesh, blood, pus, feces, urine, tendons, marrow, and bones, that fool will be delighted in hell as well. The attitude of I am the body, it is same as the path leading to the hell called Kalasutra, the trap for Mahavichi hell, and a series of forest hells where the trees have leaves as sharp as swords. Even if total ruin faces one, this identification of the body with the self should be abandoned by every effort. It should not be accepted by a nobly born person, just as a low-born tribal woman carrying dog's meat. Abandoning virtuous acts towards one's dear ones and evil deeds towards unfriendly people, a person attains the eternal Brahman by the practice of deep meditation. By this method, abandoning all attachments gradually and freed from the influence of all pairs of opposites, one gets established in Brahman alone. The ascetic shall journey alone, without any helper for attaining final beatitude. Foreseeing the perfection of one, he neither abandons it nor is he abandoned by it. A skull for an alms bowl, shelter under the shade of trees, ragged garments, solitude, and equanimity in all things, such is the characteristic of the liberated. Benign to all beings, calm, wearing threefold emblematic staff, carrying a water pot, delighting in the one Brahman, having become a mendicant monk, he may enter a village for alms. The mendicant monk shall be alone, as stated before. Two together are declared to be a pair, having attachment to each other. Three together are said to constitute a village with bickerings. More than three becomes a city of bustling and confusion. This city of ascetics should not be created, nor the village nor the pair. An ascetic doing these three falls off of his rightful duty. Due to their close association, there will doubtless be talks on royal personages, mutual luck and alms, and also affection, tale-bearing, and rivalry among them. He shall remain alone and without desires. He shall not converse with any one. He shall utter Narayana alone, as the reply always to anyone's statement. In solitude he shall contemplate on Brahman wholeheartedly in thought, word, and deed. He shall not by any means either welcome death or rejoice in life. He shall only mark time when practicing asceticism till the allotted span of life is completed, and he shall neither welcome death nor rejoice in living, and he shall await the time of death alone as an employee awaits orders. And we are actually going to pause there. That was verse 61. It is a convenient break. There's 91 verses total. It's very interesting. It says that a mendicant monk shall be alone. Too many of them form a city. But what do we have today? We have monasteries, which are little cities. So things have changed. So I guess a monastery then is contradictory to the Upanishads, right? Isn't that perhaps why we don't seem to have any? Well, no, actually we do have Hindu monasteries, but I think they're modern inventions. Um, they're not they're not traditional things. But again, they contradict the Upanishads. Isn't that interesting?